I'm Evelina Lundqvist.
And I'm Malin. We are the creators and hosts of the podcast Love Zero Waste. This is Love Zero Waste Live, and it's the live session of a podcast that we will broadcast every Friday in April. Every session will be on a different topic, but all relating to how we as individuals can take actions to help the transition move forward towards a circular society.
Any movement starts with you. Yes, you as an individual. We are change agents of our time, and every movement starts with us making small steps forward, and then big steps forward. On today's live episode, you'll learn more about how to mobilize and engage others for collective action. Today's guest is Melati Wijsen of Bye Plastics, an organization in Indonesia which now has more than 50 teams globally. This organization is working towards no plastic bags, no usage of plastic bags. Melati and her sister Isabel founded this organization back in 2013 and have been working hard with the movement ever since. They have been working on the front lines, advocating a ban on plastic bags in Bali, together with many other organizations supporting and partnering with them. Last year, the official ban of single-use plastics, for example, plastic bags, straws, and styrofoam, was enforced by the Balinese government. This is awesome. Welcome to Love Zero Waste Live, Melati.
Yay! Thanks so much for having me. I'm excited to be joining in today and to have a really good discussion.
Yeah, we're so happy that you're joining us. We're super excited. This is our first
really.
live. Looking back at what you have created with the Bye Plastic Bag organization and movement, what is a movement for you?
A movement is many things. Through my eyes with bioplastic bags, starting at 12 years old, my sister was 10 at the time. We had no idea what we were set out to be building. For me, a movement is when people come together and share the same vision, share the same passion towards a common change that we wish to see. I think that we've had an incredible honor to live a movement right here on the island of Bali. And we learned a lot from that process.
Mm-hmm. I can imagine that. How did you come up with the idea in the first place?
To start bioplastic bags?
Mm-hmm.
Well, 2013, so almost 7 years ago now, me and my sister, we grew up on the island of Bali. So if you imagine right now, beautiful rice fields and beaches, mountains and ocean, all of that combined in one beautiful place, that's what we called home. But very quickly, we started realizing that plastic was entering all sorts of places that it should not be in. There was plastic in rivers, plastics in the rice fields, plastic was everywhere. And my sister and I just said, you know what, this is enough. Why should we let it happen? How is anybody letting it happen? And what can we do about it? And those simple questions, that purity of being 10 and 12, knowing that, you didn't have to wait for someone to give you permission to take action or, wait until you were older to take action. You just start now. And without a business plan, without a strategy, we started bioplastic bags thinking it was a passion project and we'd be done by the time summer holiday was over. Okay. But little did we know it would take us 6 years campaigning to get Bali plastic bag free.
Yeah. That is amazing.
Really,
Also, that you started at such an early age also. I would have loved to start something at that age. I did not, but I guess you're a role model for a lot of young people also at this point. And I mean, also people my age.
Yeah, I think one of the most exciting pieces of our work is actually to interact with our generation. When we get into a classroom and the teacher steps out or the teacher steps to the side, the professor, and we come in and we talk and engage with people that are our age, like-minded, they sit a little bit straighter, lean on their chair and say, wait, how old are you? You did that at that age? Well, I can do it too then. So I think what we've really proven that bioplastic bags has become is a living example that kids can do things. And this is something that we've become really passionate about also with our new project, Youthtopia, to really see how we can engage and empower our generation to create positive impact.
And that's so inspiring. I know I've heard some short information about Youthtopia. You're so please feel free to just short describe it. That in combination with your like the global movement, you're having 50 teams around the world.
Right.
I mean, lots of movements.
It is. It's insane. We would have never guessed that what we started here on our little island of Bali, our home, would spread to so many different corners of the world. Yeah. So we have 50 teams around the world in about 29 countries. And the amazing part is that it's all led by young people, just like us when we started, who set out to do something good in their local communities. This really is where Youthtopia also grew a passion for within us of seeing how engaged our generation is. We saw that there was a hunger, a thirst, our generation wanting to get involved, but maybe not having the tools or the skills. So Youthtopia actually creates these short peer-to-peer programs, again, using the uniqueness of having us kids teaching our generation, empowering, sharing knowledge with our generation, guided by the 17 UN SDG goals, as you'll see right here behind me in the office that we've got here. But really as a structure and a guideline of what kind of skills we need to be equipped as change makers, because we believe just in general that the education system is outdated, slow, it's not changing or evolving with what is currently happening in the real world. So if you think about it like that, how on earth are we ever going to motivate the children or the students of this time to get involved with the solutions, to make the right decisions? So that's one of our biggest philosophies or ideas of how we have gone about with now focusing more on Youthtopia with a larger lens on the overall education system and how we can activate more kids to do what we did with bioplastic bags, but then in whatever goal or interest or passion they have as an individual.
So people can, or young people can actually join the program. What do they, if somebody's listening now and think this is something that I would really like to be part of Youthtopia, how do they do that?
We want you a part of Youthtopia right now. One of the things that we have done with bioplastic bags really well is that that's for the last 7 years. Youthtopia is actually quite new as well for us because we have officially publicly launched it earlier this year when we were in Davos at the World Economic Forum. Right now, what we're building is the content. We just opened our YouTube channel, Instagram page, and Facebook page. So like and follow us to check out our daily updates.
Awesome, good.
But let's take it from the beginning. If I would like to start a local movement working towards, could be no plastic bags or marine pollution or like having beach cleanups or upcyclings. Right. What would you say are the 3 most important things to make the movement happen?
Well, the first thing is passion. Don't do it if you feel like you have to get, it for your CV or your grades to go better up at school. It needs to come from the heart. You have to be passionate about it because it becomes pretty much a big part of your life. You have to be passionate about it. So find that passion first. Then the second thing I would say is definitely building your team. No matter how good of a leader you think you are or how good of an idea you think you have, your movement will not grow if you don't build your team. So bring in those like-minded people. Look to your community, look to your school, your teachers, your peers. How can you start building that team around you? And the second thing I think is really the sense of commitment. And this is mainly because we see so many people. We've been at this for about 7 years, and that's nowhere near as long as some of the people that we've met have been on this journey for. And the key thing is, as well, as much as we have people that have been doing it for years, we also have people that do it for a very short amount of time, right? Which is okay. But if you're serious about this, if you're serious about change, commitment has got to be a big part of your plan. So I would say those are the 3 top things: passion, team, and commitment.
Very, very good and straightforward. So speaking a little bit more about the commitment, what would you say are the best ways to engage and empower others for collective action?
Yeah, I mean, here you have a 19-year-old telling you and talking about commitment, but I'm a teenager too. I was 12 when I started, and our entire team is made up of students. So when we talk about how to get people committed in an engaging way, it's always about how can you make your movement and your message fun, right? People come and are attracted to things that they feel like they are a part of. So how do you make your movement something that is fun and also something that's relatable? How can people feel connected to the problem? Because that's one of the scariest things that are happening in today's world. We're feeling such a strong disconnection to almost everything, or we don't have this long-term feeling or emotion where we look at something and we want to dig deeper to truly understand it, because everything is, short in the sense of a 15-second Instagram story, or a 60-second IG TV, or all of these different mainstream ways. But I think commitment is to keep it fun, engaging, and relatable.
But how do you do that? Because I mean, we're all working with sensitive issues and marine pollution or plastic pollution, and I mean, those are extremely serious topics where animals get injured, people get hurt. How do you make it fun and relatable?
Well, I think also there's a very silver line here, and I think people have throughout history done a really incredible job of understanding the thin line between simplifying a message so that people understand it and really driving forward the seriousness and the urgency of the matter. One of the ways that one of the tools that I think has served bioplastic bags or provided this thin line for us is actually social media. By really creating this authentic narrative where we would show all of the little events that we would go to as much as we would show all the big successful events we would go to. So I think really bringing people on the journey with you is another important factor of keeping people engaged, keeping people committed, because when they can see the journey that you're on, the path that you're on, where you come from, where you're going, the successes but also the failures in a very authentic manner. And again, tools like social media do make that a lot easier nowadays. I think then a lot of people will, either want to follow or engage, sign up, become a volunteer.
Those are also practical ideas.
Yeah.
And I think also something that helps you a lot is also that it looks very good. The stuff that you put up on social media, it looks very attractive and engaging, and I like it. I really like it.
Yeah, thank you.
So having bioplastics as an example, how did you reach out in the beginning? Like when you're just getting started together with your sister and maybe the people around you,
Right.
how did you start reaching out?
Well, honestly, our first presentation was maybe, it was at a school conference. It's maybe, I think, 50 to 80 students, very small, but all of our friends out there and kids from other schools. And it just starts with honestly getting out there in the community, and a word for mouth is the best strategy. Still today, when you go into your community and you take the time to invest in your community, that's when you see the biggest results. So for us, we went to schools, we went into villages, we knocked on politicians' doors, we were there at the businesses, and every shop that was giving out plastic bags. We just wanted to build our movement. But again, going back to one of the biggest essential things of when you want to start, team. It wasn't just me and Isabel. We pulled in our closest friends and held team meetings every snack time and lunchtime we got at school, and anytime after school. But you really do have to have in place that team around you that can bring your idea into reality.
But do you see a difference in how the kind of the adult world reacted to you in the beginning and how they react to you now when you have a massive, global movement?
I think what we have to take in consideration is that when we started, we still had to prove ourselves in the sense of, is it just something that they're demanding or having to say? What are they going to walk their talk? And I think, again, another lesson of persistence. How do you get commitment, walking your talk, being serious, showing up is what my sister and I had to go through for a lengthy period at the very beginning with our team, every meeting, showing up. Sometimes we'd have to miss school, or miss out on a sleepover, or going to the beach to chill and hang out with friends, to go and meet with partners and friends, and so I think there was definitely a period where we had to show how serious we are and that we weren't going away until our mission was reached. But now definitely I think we have built that track record and the reputation, not only in Indonesia, but again worldwide, with all of our teams around the world led by young people, that we have become a movement that is really serious also on seeing how we can collaborate with all stakeholders. How do we reach a world that we're actually proud of? Because I think bioplastic bags, we focus a lot on plastic bags, but we've also opened up a platform that discusses a lot about other things in the environment. So I think right now we have a really good reputation that I'm really, really proud of to this day.
Yeah, you've done some really amazing work, I think. And how did you feel that you were kind of gaining momentum throughout this process?
Definitely we felt the buildup. I mean, being 10 and 12 and growing up a little over the years, going to schools was a big success point for us. Just, interacting with all the students. So we've spoken to now over 75,000 students face to face, and that's not including any of the virtual things that we do. But, that was one of the biggest momentums we built, because as we spoke at schools, our idea was growing with a larger team that we hadn't even anticipated. The next momentum buildup was when we gave our first international talk on a big stage at TED. That's when our global teams really started to kick off, with the TED Talk being shown in classrooms, kids then reaching out as an assignment to start a bioplastic bags team. And, here on the island, we started to grow when the partnerships started to happen, whether that was a local grassroots movement that was similar to us, or an actually established institution of it within the hotel industry, to the government, we really started to build this movement where we actually became a network, because we were growing the fastest on the island at the time as well. We wanted to use and share our momentum with everybody that was like-minded. And in that way, we actually grew one of the largest networks on the island today of people power that focuses on waste management and waste prevention.
You mentioned previously that you were kind of knocking on politicians' doors and this kind of thing. And I think for anybody who is kind of an activist or coming from the civil society, wanting to get things going, how do you pick up the courage to go and knock on a politician's door, for example, or like a partner or a company that you want to partner with?
Yeah, I think again, if you're passionate about it, there is something that drives you that's almost unexplainable. Even today, I do not get bored once with the work that we have to do, because it's always fun. It's always different. There's always something that excites me because I'm passionate about it. But there is a lot of courage that has to go into it. And I'm not the kid, especially when I was just starting out, I was not the kid that would storm up to the teacher or anyone of authority really and be like, hey, I want this. Or, it really came from finding other people's strengths. So there was our team, and someone else would really like to do that. So they would go up there with us and really, facilitate the discussion. Or my sister, for example, she is a complete opposite version of me. And yet we were kind of like yin and yang, working out each other's balances. But it is definitely, if you don't feel outside of your comfort zone as well, it's not big enough. Your vision, your dream, your passion is not big enough. So those moments of feeling uncomfortable or totally out of focus is one of the most thrilling feelings, actually. And it's interesting because that's the kind of education that me and my sister had and our entire team had, of really challenging us, doing something different, doing something that you couldn't really Google or ask how to do it. You just had to do it. And there are different ways. It's not always in the space of campaigning. You don't always have to go up there and yell from the top of your lungs. You can also write letters. You can start a petition. You can create an online campaign. You can rally in other ways. So we did all of that, and we explored many different channels and streams of activism. And the biggest point of it is that it built our reputation. Again, we were there with a serious goal. And when we didn't give up, when we always showed up, people started understanding, well, these kids aren't going anywhere until we get Bali plastic bag free. And 6 years later, we championed the ban on plastic bags on the island.
Awesome.
Good work. Oh,
Yeah,
I get
really.
so, I almost get emotional by listening to you. I love it.
But talking about success, what made you feel that you have succeeded in your work with Bye Bye Plastic Bags?
Well, you know, there are so many moments, small moments as well, that really fill me up with so much gratitude, in the sense, like, I remember this one moment in our pilot village. Really, when we first started, we gave out all of these alternative bags to a village of 800 local families. And right after, the day after we gave them out, we were walking through the village, and I saw someone pass by on their motorbike on the way to a rice field, and they were using our bag, their alternative bag. And that for me was a moment of real significance, because that was one of the first, we're doing something and it's changing the way people are going about their life. And I thought that that was really, that stayed with me. I mean, I think 6 years to ban one single-use item is a long time, and you lose hope a lot along the way. But there are moments like what I just explained, of the guy passing with the motorbike, with the bag on his shoulder, that keep you going. Yeah, I mean, I could share lots of different examples.
Oh, but what are your future plans with Bye Bye Plastic Bags? You've come a long way so far.
Yeah, finally we have the ban in place. And, you know, definitely our whole team was jumping on the tables, dancing in victory to celebrate the actual ban coming into place. But it also felt like the work is really just beginning, in the sense that a regulation is just a regulation with a piece of paper and a stamp and a signature, if not fully enforced. And that's now where we see heavily our responsibility on the socialization to make sure that the implementation of the regulation is set in place, right? So we're doing a lot of education. Actually, before the current situation with the coronavirus, our team was almost doing 3 to 5 events a week. And we're all still students. So you can imagine it was becoming a lot to juggle with, but now suddenly that the ban came in place, people wanted to know, what do we do? How do we change? What do we use? Can you come in and teach our staff the importance of saying no to plastic? Or can you come to our school and teach our students different ways of how they can become an entrepreneur? Or, you know, lots of people were starting to understand finally, after all these years of working, what how they can play a part in the movement. So what we're focusing on right now is heavily on education. My sister and I are also working now on Youthtopia, bringing that into the world, really educating and inspiring more young people, so that they are also feeling in a position that they can do what we did for the last 7 years.
That's awesome. So we're going to start wrapping up now, the first Love Zero Waste Live. But Melati, what would you say is the main takeaway message for anyone who'd like to start their local movement?
Start today. You know, even in these times that we're in right now, and I'm sure all of you are listening to this first Love Zero Waste live stream on YouTube from the comfort of your home. And you may feel completely hopeless or useless, even not knowing where to start to make change or find your voice, but there are creative channels to get started on your activism journey. We can't hit the snooze button. There's definitely no time to waste. We are part of a generation that is going to experience so much in one lifetime, and we have an opportunity to do something great. So start today, find your passion, and it's sometimes often easier to just make a list of all the things that you don't like so much, because then you can already rule out all of those things. And that's what my mom says anyways. But you know, it's definitely a responsibility that I feel all of us should be feeling heavily right now, of how do we find what we're passionate about and utilize that to contribute some sort of impact to either our immediate surrounding, our families, our local communities, or on a greater scale, nationally, globally, we all have a role to play. So find out what it is.
Good advice.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Melati.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited. I hope it was great, and I'm excited to share it on our Bioplastic Bags Instagram.
Great. So if our listeners would like to learn more about how you and Bye Bye Plastic Bags are working to make a large-scale change, they could check out your website, byebyeplasticbags.org, and then you have Instagram and YouTube and Facebook as well.
Definitely. It's pretty easy. Bye Bye Plastic Bags, just like the mission, our name stands for what we believe in. And we've got Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube.
Great.
Email as well. We're still on that.
Super. So this is Love Zero Waste Live. Make sure also to follow Love Zero Waste on Instagram and Facebook to get updates on coming live sessions in April. I'm Malin Lett.
I'm Evelina Lundqvist, and you've listened to or watched the first Love Zero Waste live session. Thank you so much for listening or watching.
Thank you.